So I was walking through Walmart the other day, and a guy walked up to me and says, "Hey, do you remember me?" Now, at first, I didn't recognize him, but then I realized he was a contractor who I received a quote from to pour concrete on my property. Well, after some other things had happened, I decided not to move forward with the project, so I never hired him. Anyway, he says, "Man, I've been looking for you. I need help with my business stuff." And so he had changed directions in his company and was now looking for some guidance. So, of course, I asked him, like anyone else would, "What do you need help with?" And he says, "Well, I've already registered my limited liability company and I'm building my website now. I think I need help with setting up like my email account, and maybe you could take a look at my business cards and make sure they look good." So, in good conscience, I had to ask him, if he had mentors or advisors that were assisting him. And his answer was nope. And I said, "Okay, well, do you have a one-page business plan?" "Nope." "Okay. You said you registered your limited liability company. Did you start with 10 million membership units or just one?" And he's like, just one. It's only me." And so I knew I can go on asking questions, but I had all the information I needed to determine he was way ahead of the steps that he had needed to take to build his business. He was working out a sequence, as I always say. And like most people, he was in a rush to just register the business name and begin selling. And in his mind, he had a business. So I said, "Okay, you know what? I agreed to help him, but he had to follow the correct path to building a successful business and not just, doing whatever he wanted to. After all, I had two companies of my own, and I still do, and had no time to waste wandering the small business graveyard looking for answers. And as service providers and experts, I believe we are obligated to be morally and ethically bound to our clients' outcomes. Just because a business owner, and in my case, says they need help with something specific, it doesn't always mean that that's actually what they need. I think about this in the same respect of going to see a doctor. I could walk in and say, "Hey, I'm having a headaches at night. I need a prescription for migraine medicine." That doctor could simply write me a prescription and let me walk right out that door just as fast as I walked in. But a moral and ethical doctor would see that they would take my height, they would take my weight, they would take my blood pressure, they would take my temperature. They would go through all of the assessments necessary to get as much information as possible before they even found out that I had a headache. And in that, they probably would have realized that my blood pressure was high and with just a few tests, and then determined that I have a blood pressure issue, right? Then they would have been able to immediately diagnose that the headaches were coming from blood pressure. And rather than giving me migraine medicine, they would give me a blood pressure medication. Does that make sense? So we should never just give a client what they're asking for unless you've diagnosed their situation and have clearly determined that what you have to offer is a solution to that problem. Maybe they're too early for accounting services, marketing, branding, whatever it is. It's okay to say no, not now to that client. You need to take care of some other issues first, right? Make sure they solve those issues before they come to you, because the timing may be off. They may be asking about branding, but they don't even have an idea of who their client persona is. They may be asking for marketing, but they don't even know where their distribution channels are. So I know most experts won't do that. They won't do that. They would go after the payout and just simply provide the service to the client, even if they know the client has no chance of benefiting from what was sold. And then the expert simply tells himself at night, "Well, they paid for my service. I gave them my service. There's nothing wrong with that. They paid for my time." My question is, what do you think?